Today I'm going to show all you HOI4 multiplayer Discord Italy players out there how to be a good Italy in a multiplayer match, showing you the focuses, build up, and even the templates you need. Also, heads up, if I have any extra tips that I completely forgot to add into the video, they will be in a pinned comment down below, and also I will be taking some other people's comments and stuff like that where they recommend things and probably edit it over time. So go ahead down there and check that out for any extra tips. So first off, as always, we are going to be covering the focuses you need to take. So you have two options here. Option A, you can follow the list that I have on screen. That is expecting you to be in a server where you're not allowed to general grind. If you're allowed to general grind, basically what you do is go down Army Primacy and then follow the path like I was showing all the way to extra research slot. But instead of swapping to Triumph in Africa because you're going to be grinding Ethiopia, you're then going to skip down to the part where you start with Italian highways and work your way down to Libyan refineries. Now, something really important here, because if a lot of people use this guide in single player, they're going to run into a roadblock with the Yugoslavia and Albanian occupation thing. What you need to do is, once you take claims on Yugoslavia, you need to wait before you do any other focuses. Immediately start justifying, and then once your war goal on Yugoslavia is going to be complete, really between 1 to 5 days before your 70-day focus for Albania would be done, you need to declare war on Yugoslavia first, and then let Albanian occupation finish. The reason you do this is because once you do claims on Yugoslavia, that increases world tension by 4%. Then by justifying on them, that's usually another, I think, 1 to 3%, so you're up to 7. Now, this focus here, once you get the Albanian occupation, then that's going to cause a few more percent. If you do this focus and this completes before your war goal on Yugoslavia finishes, it will boost the world tension over 25%. Then what will happen is the AI will actually guarantee Yugoslavia, so you get none of the extra factories, the resources, or anything unless you're willing to start World War II in 1937, but Germany will not be on your side yet. So yes, you are now seeing the construction information on your screen, and a lot of people are kind of confused about why are there no dockyards anywhere on here. I'll cover that in a minute, the whole Navy side of things, how you can win the naval war without actually having to build any dockyards whatsoever, and no, you don't use planes. You can, but I'll cover that in a second. So basically, what you're seeing right now is correct. Yes, you do make synthetics for almost an entire year, and then by doing that, you'll be able to really have more oil available than even Romania or any other Axis countries. The reason you do this is because oil is such a vital part of the game now. Germany is going to be trading most of their oil with Romania, but if you do this, they're going to be trading it to mostly you, and then you'll be able to get a lot more civilian factories out of Germany, and they'll be able to assist you more. Now for your military doctrine. So basically what you want to do is go down superior firepower. Superior firepower, even after man the guns. It got a little bit of a debuff, I was told, but I haven't figured out what the debuff was. But pretty much superior firepower is the way to go for almost every country unless there's a very specific circumstance. So make sure you do superior firepower for Italy and wait until you get your 5th research slot unlocked through the focus tree, and then dedicate the 5th research slot to getting exclusively your superior firepower. You want to go down integrated support, and then air-land battle if the Axis are going to have air superiority. If you're not going to have air superiority, then you want to go down shock and awe. Next up is the research you're going to be needing. I know there's not too much military style stuff on here, and a lot of people are probably concerned about there's not that much Navy. Again, I'll explain how to easily kind of combat the enemy navies in a minute, but also you're kind of wondering why there's no tanks. Me personally, I don't think there's a reason for Italy to really work on tanks that much compared to Germany. Germany, in my opinion, is always the country that should be mainly tanks. Italy, you could have 1 or 2 tank divisions if you want to go out of your way, but this whole research path is just my experience and what works best, because you have anti-tank weapons to fight off the Allies' tanks, you have really good artillery, you have good anti-aircraft AA batteries and all that kind of stuff with your division, AA. I mean, it just really works a lot better by going this route and just completely abandoning the idea of tanks and just let Germany and Bulgaria work on that. Next up is your political power usage. So the very first thing you want to do, because the way the game starts, Italy can immediately at the very start, since they're at war, go to war economy. So again, it's a good idea to kind of stretch out the Ethiopian war a little bit so you can get to war economy with your political power and do some cool stuff past that point and get a lot better economy. Now let's talk about your production really quick. If you're able to get Fighter 2s early on, if Romania does rush Fighter 2s for the Axis and you guys can get them, that should probably be your #1 priority. You should have between 20 to 25 mils on it at least, because Hearts of Iron 4 is mostly about who wins the air war, and if the other person doesn't have AA, it's almost a complete walkover. So you should really try to get Fighter 2s early as possible for the Axis as Romania, and if they do, then as Italy, you should build as many as possible to help Germany out for the war. So, as promised, let's go ahead and talk about the Navy buildup that I was saying earlier. So, with the new update, aside from Japan, the Axis have pretty much zero chance against the combined navies of the United Kingdom and France, and literally probably 0% once the United States Navy actually shows up. Do not put that much effort into Navy production. 99% of the deciding war on this game is the Soviet Union. That is 99% of the whole game. It's built up for the Axis to take the Soviets, and the Soviets building up to try to take out the Axis or hold until the Allies have built up enough to invade the Axis. It's all Russia that's the deciding factor in multiplayer matches. Once Russia's dead, pretty much everybody leaves the game and it's over. Now, a lot of people are going to say, so what, you just completely stop doing anything with Navy whatsoever? Not at all. What you want to do is, because torpedoes are so overpowered, you'll see later on in the tech tree earlier that I was showing you guys, you'll need to get this torpedo tech right here. That is perfectly fine, perfectly fine. What you would do is you train your Navy a little bit, get enough XP, and then once you've trained up your Navy, you find the ships that you can upgrade, and then just go under here and add a torpedo to them. Yeah, you just add torpedoes to them, and then you upgrade them as early as possible. And because torpedoes are so overpowered, you'll have so many torpedoes in the battle, you can at least minimum hold the enemy fleets at bay. And sometimes you'll lose one cruiser and they'll lose 6 or 7, just on the basis of having so many torpedo ships available. Now let's talk about templates. I'm only going to show you guys 2 templates to use. So really quick, just a basic infantry division template I use in Africa a lot is 7 infantry and 2 artillery. Then after this, you want to add engineers. I don't have it unlocked right off the bat, but recon and an anti-tank gun. Now, the reason you want to do it this way is because usually the Allies will have tank divisions in Africa. So if you have an anti-tank weapon, since the Allies haven't really been able to build up too well before World War II, and they're mostly concentrating on fighters, you should probably be able to pierce their tanks holding El Alamein, and hopefully Germany will be here with Fort Buster. So really your main concern in Africa should be tanks and aircraft. For your second division, it'll be your Garrison Troop. All this is going to be is just 10 infantry divisions, or 10 infantry battalions, and then you'll have an engineer company with support AA. So this should be a really good template to use for guarding ports and all this kind of stuff. So by following my own guide, we are going to skip ahead to 1939, right when Germany declares war on Poland, and then we're going to see how the buildup actually worked. So here we are in 1939. Now that Germany has declared war on Poland, let's see how well we did. So by following my guide, we've been able to take out Albania and Czechoslovakia before the Allies got involved in World War II. For our details here, we're sitting okay at about 59 civilian factories. Now, the main thing we've got here is 52 mills, 15 dockyards. Most people would say, well, that's not that great. Actually, I am the #1 country producing oil in the Axis. We're making 2.4 thousand barrels a day by following my guide. From refineries alone, we're getting 1.6 thousand. So if we lose Africa, we'll lose about 10 oil down there. But as you can see here, we're still getting the majority of our oil now from refineries alone. For our technology, once you finish everything up, you should start working mostly down here on the whole, use your bonuses you get from the German treaties for oil, which is what I did here. So once 60 days passes in 1940, we're going to have, or really 39 still, we're going to have probably a good 3,000 barrels a day from just synthetics alone. Now, here's another couple things here. Once World War II starts, pretty much if you can, you need to try to take Africa. Your main priority is probably going to be El Alamein, but hopefully Germany will be able to help you with that. Italy's #1 job at this point should be one of, well, really 2 things. 1, defend your islands. If you keep defending your islands and holding off the French, the UK invasions, be able to hold Africa on the defensive part, that's Italy's job. They're a defensive country and really supposed to use their navy to keep the Axis or the Allies at bay and try to keep them away from Africa while doing some damage. Now, make sure you do a couple things here, because a lot of people do this and I'm guilty of it as well. When I do garrisons, I just tell them to guard ports. Well, some of the major victory points here for Italy, more specifically their own capital, is not a port city and it's on the coast. So what would happen is if you're going to be trying to defend your capital, which I really hope you would, that is completely understandable, make sure to have one general with a few fallback lines. I do one in Palermo and then one in Rome. You can do one here in Naples too, but this is the main one I'm concerned with. And just have a few extra divisions there on a garrison order, or correction, a fallback order, so that way UK just doesn't freely invade your whole capital and just take you out. So as for the whole Africa thing, Germany should have 1 or 2 tank divisions down here. If they don't, pretty much you're just going to probably more than likely push up to El Alamein with no resistance. A player probably won't even put troops here. They'll just defend El Alamein if Germany's not going to help you. And then once you get here, you're going to probably face a level 5 fort. If that happens, you're just going to have to hold. Or if you do take out the majority of their navy with the torpedo cruisers and torpedo destroyers, then you can possibly invade around them and then move into Eastern Africa. Really, for Western Africa here, you can probably push through the French decently well, I would say. It really depends on how the person build up, but more than likely, again, you're going to be defensive while Germany is down here doing the more offensive kind of stuff. So now we are in 1940, like I was saying. So pretty much, as you can see here in Africa, we did exactly what I said. Pretty much we were on the defensive and allowed the German AI, and the multiplayer will be a German player with their infantry, their tank divisions, to push through El Alamein. Once they've pushed through, you kind of garrison behind them, you take care of the defensive stuff, and you continuously keep guarding your islands or your homeland. Because again, once you get invaded, pretty much Germany's going to have to come in there and save you. So once you get down here, pretty much you're able to hold. Usually, sometimes you can even push up, like it's actually telling me I've got a pretty good chance pushing up. But the main other things that work, first off, you can see we're making about 3.3 thousand barrels of oil a day now by following my guide. As for the whole civs and mills, you really want to have way more civs than this in a multiplayer match, but again, I just kind of let it slip by because, again, Italy is supposed to be a defensive country. We've got 71 mills, 51 civilian factories, but again, the more concerning thing here is the Navy. So earlier, like I was saying with the Navy, you can get by with just torpedo cruisers. Here's the difference. Our destroyers, we didn't actually upgrade those. We only upgraded the cruisers. As you can see, we've lost 1 cruiser and they've lost 10. Because we've upgraded the torpedoes. Actually, specifically, here is the class. All it is just 1 level 2 torpedo on it. That's it. Now, this one down here, I did upgrade the torpedoes. I was trying to get a lot of them out, but I actually didn't have enough time to upgrade any of the destroyers. I just upgraded cruisers. So, yeah, guys, that is pretty much it for the entire guide of Italy. Now, again, like I was saying, there's going to be some different tips and stuff like that. People have different opinions, and depending on what they say, I'll go in the comments and change the pinned comment a little bit, depending on what people recommend and if it works really well. So just a takeaway from this, remember, guard your cities with a fallback line in case they try to naval invade, garrison your ports, and remember to try to be a mostly oil-producing nation, so that way Germany can concentrate on mostly building up an army to fight the Russians. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next time. Stay awesome.